Yo, who's running out of witty intros for these videos? Dun 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 dun. Dyze, running out of witty intros for these silly videos. What is the word, peeps? What goes on? Jay Porks here, back in action. Day 8 of the video series. We're still here. We're still coming to you live every day. A lot of people in America, most people in America who are non-essential workers, are home for a duration of time, and everyone's looking for something to do. So I am going to record videos, and hopefully before you leave the house, before you're like, I gotta get out of the house, you can say, hey, maybe I'll watch this video, maybe I'll hang out, maybe I'll listen to what Jay has to say. And what Jay has to say is this: wash your hands, don't touch things, maintain physical distancing from people, 6 feet, and don't be in enclosed spaces with people, and, don't be sick, and if you're sick, don't leave the house, and don't leave the house anyway, and you're not supposed to leave the house, and go to cdc.gov. Something was just floating. Go to cdc.gov to find out everything you need to be doing, but there's basically, it's all centered around washing your hands and distancing yourself from people for a while. So what I'm here to do is every day for the 14-day period, because originally here's how it went, and here's how it went down. Originally, a wave of businesses closed. A week before New York went into its lockdown, not lockdown, but like its shelter in place, non-essential workers, etc., stay home. Before that, my job was closed a week, so they're closed now, and I don't know any status of what the deal is when I'm going back to work, but I do know this: the views and opinions expressed on this video and on these podcasts are that of my own and not that of my employer. And I've been home for a long time, but originally, you can tell I'm going nuts because I can't even maintain a train of thought, and if I'm anything, I am a stream of consciousness. It was originally supposed to be 14 days off work. Now, if Cuomo doesn't, if Cuomo says it's going to be longer than that, it might be longer than that. But I don't know anything about that right now, and if I did, I wouldn't comment. I would just say that. I would say I don't know anything because, the views and opinions, mine, my own. But the video series is a guaranteed 14-day video series. So, like, if I don't go back to work, I'm not necessarily, I'm going to try to come to you every day, but I might not. This might get altered. It might be certain days a week, because I feel like on some of these, I might be talking about the same things over and over again. And again, 8th day in a row, as you can see right there, what's that? Who's in my bed? Charlie, in my bed, because he's the best cat in the world. And that's what he does. He's going to do what he does. And that's be the best. So I'm still home. I'm still here to entertain you. On the podcast every weekend, you can get that on SoundCloud. Dyze in your house. No, it's soundcloud.com/Dyze in your house. And there's a brand new episode of Dyze in your house every week. And we call this the Least Coast Radio family of networks. So we got patreon.com/JPorks. We got soundcloud.com/Dyze in your house. We got the YouTube page where you're viewing this very video. You can follow me on Twitter at JPorks. You can follow Least Coast Radio on Twitter at Least Coast Radio. And and follow me on Instagram at Dyze in your house. Keep up to date with the podcast, because the podcast is the main juice here. This is an advertisement for the podcast. Podcast isn't long. It's not like a 3-hour, crime mystery podcast. It's me ranting and raving about how we need to save democracy. And we need to save democracy, and we need to make sure that on November 3rd, 2020, we are out there and we are voting. We are making sure that we get competent leadership in place. Because right now, as I mention every week on my podcast, and I've mentioned every day on this video series, the hashtag COVIDeo series, for the COVID quarantine, hashtag stay at home. America is democracy, free and fair elections, this and that. And what this regime has done is place more and more fascist ideologies into the mainstream and that be accepted by elected Republican officials and Republican voters, which is crazy. But then again, you have to remember that only, I think, 23% of the country identify as Republicans. So it's not as bad of an epidemic as coronavirus. But we do need to take our country back in November and get it away from fascism. And if you're wondering, hey, what is this fascism thing he talks about? I'll just add a Google, hey Google in front of that. Hey Google, what is fascism?
According to Wikipedia, fascism is a form of far-right, authoritarian ultranationalism characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition, and strong regimentation of society and of the economy, which came to prominence in early 20th century Europe.
Now, we don't need to go through the play-by-play of early 20th century Europe, but it's not like progressive America. That's not what it is. So let's just make sure that we understand what being an American is about. And there would be fewer deaths in America if not for the lack of leadership up top, if not for the lack of a moral compass, if not for the lack of empathy, and just the general knowledge to make this virus a situation room deal, where this is where you take America's top doctors and researchers together, because you probably have them employed in the government. At least they did until 2018, when that department was disbanded. So we no longer have a team researching future what-if scenarios when it comes to global pandemics and stuff like that, and widespread disease and new disease and infectious disease. We don't have that department of the government anymore, but we have the Space Force. Let that soak. Does that make any sense? Does anybody... I mean, with all the technology, there's a camera. Isn't there a camera on the Mars rover? Isn't there, like, satellite feeds you can watch all day? I don't think we don't really need to go to space anymore until, like, we're sure about what's over there. We can just send machines and cameras there. Space is not... The Space Force. We have a Space Force, but we don't have a team of doctors and researchers funded to look for global pandemics and what-if scenarios. We don't have that. That's automatic disqualifier from can this person lead the country. That is already automatic done. Finito. That should be the end of it. But the problem is if people get sicker and elections get delayed, it's going to be an even bigger problem. But rest assured, the term expires January 21st. Election or no election. So don't worry about it. Push it. Push it far. The term expires. No matter what. So, if Republicans want to answer to President Pelosi, that's fine with me. People rolling around these theories. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Here's the conspiracy. We have shitty government because people looked at memes in 2016 and let themselves, think that their vote didn't count, or they thought that their vote mattered so much that they were going to vote for somebody that's not even on the fucking ballot. That's the thing. The anti-intellectualism of America, it was, how do I put this? It was revealed that the anti-intellectualism of America, the decline in intellectualism, that was determined to be a feature and not a bug in 2016. It's a feature. It's something that comes with it. It's not something that you need to re-update your phone and you'll get a handle on what it is. No. It's here. That's a thing. So we have to use all tactics possible. We have to have all barriers, all bases covered. That's why voting is so important, and that's why voting Democrat down ballot is very important in November. Whether you're mailing in your ballot, whether you're there, whatever the case may be. This is why it's so important to have checks and balances. So if Vladimir Putin wants to have his puppet head there, at least we can have a House and a Senate to actually function as a government and pass bills and, not act like babies. Right now we have the Senate, all of them besides Mitt Romney, basically dusting their knees off on their way home right now. Another weekend of Trumps. And now they're dealing with this COVID bill. And the COVID stimulus passed $2 trillion or something. It's a lot of money going a lot of places. But it shows you where, because the Republicans have control of the Senate. So basically, once that bill came from the House, they were like, okay, here's what we're actually going to put in here. And you can have it or not. And I'm not sure about all of the basics, but I do know this. This is how far apart the people are. A lot of it was like a lot or most. It didn't have a definitive number. Of Americans will get a check once for $1,200. $500 per child. So if you have 2 kids, you'll get an extra G. One time. Andrew Yang, and that's why when we talk about these checks, don't bring up Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang has a universal basic income platform that he wants to institute, which, by the way, would be the economic answer to what is going on right now. Let's just say we had universal basic income right now. This quarantine would just be a little easier, knowing that we could all take off work, calmly, and not have to worry about what is this going to affect my job. All employers are saying the right things right now across the board. We're going to be there for our work. Oh, cool. We'll see. I hope so. I'm confident that my employer is going to be there for me. We'll see how it is on the other side. I'm confident they will, though. But yeah, it's all of it. Right now, key goal, staying healthy. So, the stimulus package, you might get a check for $1,200. Maybe. I wouldn't spend that money until you get that check. Because how are they, again, I talked about this a couple of videos ago. How are they going to determine who gets the check? They said poorer people aren't going to get as much money because they lost less money because they make less money, which is just sick and twisted behavior. So this whole shutdown, they're willing to give you this $1,200 maybe one time, possibly. Whereas Andrew Yang had a platform on every American over the age of 18, every American citizen gets $1,000 a month, $1,200 a year. No, $12,000 a year. Wow, my math is not good, right? 1,000 times 12, 12,000. Okay. A universal basic income. Now that is a thing where 6 months ago, I swear to you, and this is how far I can change. 6 months ago, I was like, listen, universal basic income, that is the future, but it's not a hill I'm willing to die on right now. Well, Andrew Yang was on The Breakfast Club earlier this week, or last week. Yeah, The Breakfast Club, the hip-hop morning show. And he mentioned that there'll be a role for him in the Biden administration. He said it fairly confidently. So, my question is this. Are they going to make Andrew Yang Commerce Secretary? And if so, is he going to figure out a way to get us $1,000 a month? I'm fully on board with universal basic income now. I know it's a Martin Luther King idea. I know it's not like, oh, Andrew Yang's a genius. No, it's the future. Especially with robots replacing us and blah, 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 stuff like that, and global pandemics and global warming and stuff like this, and us not being ready. If every American adult was getting $1,000 for free. No strings attached. No steak dinner, no movies, no dancing, no ballet. That would be something where we may be able to stave through this pandemic crisis a little easier. And I'm telling you, I live in New York City. I live in Staten Island. We are, I know the greatest city in the world. Yeah, but that doesn't mean I want more corona. You know what I mean? Like, why do we have more corona? Why do we have to be the best at that? Why can't we be the best at getting rid of it? Density's an issue. This is a problem. This is a big issue. I'm going to have to leave. God. This isn't good. The line is still going up. And I don't even see that many New Yorkers like being dicks and not being home about it. I think most of the people that are out are essential. Isn't that right, Chuck? He thinks they're essential. Alright, before I get up on out of here, let me hip you to a few things I've been getting into recently. I've been getting into, and I suggest you do these things, I've been getting into washing my hands thoroughly. 20 seconds, at least. Sing a song. I suggest 9 Inch Nails, Closer. If you sing the chorus to that, if you scream it, you'll be clean. People will look at you, but so what? I actually got that I saw that as a meme somewhere. I read it. If you don't have to leave your house, don't leave your house. I mean, unless you if you're going stir crazy and you need to take a walk and you don't live on a busy street where there's other people chilling. Like my block is fairly empty. I mean, when people are in the house. I took a walk yesterday. I'll probably mix one in today. You should do that. But if you need to get on the bus or any sort of public transportation, what you need to do is not touch things. And if you do touch things, you need to wash your hands. Carry around that Purell. I know you can't find it anywhere. But if you happen to have some left over from the last Purell craze, the one that, when everyone was getting real hip to Purell, when it really wasn't, when we didn't have Corona, I mean, if you have any of those, use them. Don't touch your face. You're not supposed to touch your face anyway, but don't touch it. You've probably counted about 12 times I've touched my face during this video. Just remember that I don't have health insurance, and if I keep touching, every time I touch my face, I am playing Russian roulette with my life. And that's not good, because I have one goal to accomplish. And it happens in November. All we have to do is stay healthy. And if we stay healthy, if we stay at home and that leads to staying healthy, then we'll be ready to put competent, moral, decent human beings, empathetic leadership at the top. Leadership that knows what it's like to actually hire people that know what they're doing and take cue from them. That's what I'm saying. So we have an opportunity to do that in November. That starts here in the trenches by giving up a little bit of the things we love. Giving up a little bit right now. Even if it's a lot. The more we clamp down, the better chance we have to get out of this quickly. And it's never going to be quick. There's no chance of it ever being quickly because we don't have that department that would have foreseen this coming and maybe staved off some death. We would have had significant fewer death if this was an administration that included Ron Klain. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, getting healthy, getting well is the key to getting to the polls. November 3rd, 2020. That's this year. That's coming up. We will vote Democrat. We will vote Democrat to save our country. Until tomorrow, J-Porks, Dyze in your house, exclusively on Least Coast Radio.